Nearly 6 years after a patient died inside the Psychiatric Institute of Washington, 3 former employees have been indicted on a charge of criminal negligence. 2 of the 3 were working as psychiatric counselors, and the other was a registered nurse. Prosecutors say they neglected to help a 58-year-old man who was clearly in distress. News 4's Paul Wagner attended a news conference with the U.S. Attorney for D.C.
Good evening. The U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced the indictment here at the U.S. Attorney's Office just a short while ago. She said that 3 former employees identified as 37-year-old Nelson Kuma, 45-year-old Richard Haunow, and 68-year-old Norma Munoz Bent made their first appearances in D.C. Superior Court yesterday. They all pleaded not guilty, and they were all released on their own personal recognizance. Here at a news conference at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Pirro said that this was all captured on video, and she described what happened that day on April 26th, 2020.
This trio did nothing to help this patient. They didn't check him, they didn't reposition him, they didn't turn him, they didn't call a code blue, they didn't check his pulse, they didn't attempt CPR, they didn't initiate resuscitation efforts. They did nothing. Instead, they chatted, they walked around, they didn't touch him while he lay on a mattress, dying.
The incident was investigated at first by Disabilities Rights DC, which issued a lengthy report on the incident, but for reasons that are still unclear, it never rose to the level of prosecution until now. The U.S. Attorney says a prosecutor in her office had been tracking the case for years, but when asked today why it did not become a criminal case until now, Jeanine Pirro declined to say other than it's being handled now, she said. The man who died is only being identified by his initials, and according to the U.S. Attorney, had a medical emergency 2 days before his death and had to be resuscitated. She said he was supposed to have one-on-one care at the facility because of his condition. Disability Rights DC issued a 2021 public report detailing what it calls a lack of oversight at the Psychiatric Institute of Washington. The report includes sketches of the incident. Disability Rights says the sketches were drawn based off of videotape footage from inside the patient's hotel room. There are just so many questions in this case now as to why it took so long for this to rise to the level of a criminal prosecution. The U.S. Attorney said earlier today, quote, the 3 had a legal and ethical duty to act, and they chose not to. And my office will not tolerate that. Outside the U.S. Attorney's Office in Northwest D.C., Paul Wagner, News 4.